Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Redbread. Welcome to the Space Monkey Mafia, where pants are the enemy. My thoughts are much collected. I'm doing very much better now. The high-pitched whine that I had to stop my stream for was because there is air in the water pipes. That I don't remember ever hearing. So that was like, what's going on? I thought it was a coil line from my computer because of how hot it was in my room and how hot it was outside. But no, everything's good now. My thoughts are collected. We are doing ranker lists of who are the top 10 Space Marines, who are the top 10 Legion or Chaos Space Marines, so on and so forth. Glad to be back. Glad to be streaming. As you can see, at number 18 is the Aurora chapter. Before I start, I know I might have been a little bit harsh with some of the things that I said last time. Too bad! My channel, my opinions, my thoughts. The Space Marine chapter known as the Ultramarines, though, of those guys, if you're making a top 10 list or top 20 list, they're always going to be number 10. And the reason for that is quite simple. They're predictable, they're unadaptable, and that is their biggest weakness. I do have a love-hate relationship with the Ultramarines. I think the Ultramarines are cool. I'm not going to go into the Mark Ward stuff. Nope, I'm not going to do any of that. But basically, I have a love-hate relation with the Ultramarines. I do like some of the characters in the Ultramarine chapters. I think they have potential to be kind of cool, but they are just generic to me. From what I understand, they were created to be the jack of all trades. On the tabletop, not in the lore, and they were meant to be kind of be like a Astartes beginner army. The only real cool thing about them is they fought some bug boys, and I've got some neat gecko Roman themes going on. But anyway, enough about the Ultramarines. Let's dive into this list. At 18. Voted with 648 votes is the Aurora chapter. I do not know who these guys are. Let's find out. The Aurora chapter is a loyalist chapter of Space Marines of Disputed Founding that is a successor chapter of the Ultramarines. Yes, the Ultramarines have a lot of successor chapters. The armory of the chapter boasts more Predators and Line Raiders than any other than any three other Loyalist Space Marine chapters. Combined, they are thus specialized in mechanical armored assaults. I don't know where I got mechanical from. I was reading up there and my brain turned marine into mechanical. Okay, they've got an okay color scheme, nothing too fancy. I'm not sure what this is. It's an Aurora or like an 8. But anyway, like I said, I don't really know much about these guys, but they like heavy armored, they like their tanks, they like their Predators, and they like their Ran Raiders. Okay. Who is next? Chapter 17. In 17, we have Angels Sanguine. The Angels are the Loyalist chapter of Space Marines and second founding successor chapter of the Blood Angels. Theirs is a long and glorious history, having been pivotal in many victories against the chaotic horrors that have emerged from the Eye of Terror. Yet the shadow of blood... Yet the shadow of the Blood Angel's genetic flaw lingers ever about the Angels Sanguine. I know I'm probably mispronouncing that. What I like about this list is the other two lists that I went over today all had the exact same Space Marine chapters, and this one throws in some nice Space Marine chapters you don't really see a lot of or people just forget about. Like at 18 we've got these guys. I don't know who these guys are, but apparently 648 people did. These guys are cool. I don't know a whole lot about their founding or their lore. I really like the Flesh Terrors though. Those are my boys. Alrighty, going on up. Again, at 16, I've heard of these guys, don't know a lot about their lore. We have the Celestial Lions. The Celestial Lions are a loyalist space marine founded in the 38th millennium of unknown origins. The chapter has a long and glorious history, stretching back over 4,000 standard years. But in events set into motion 2 decades ago may now prove to be the chapter's undoing. What you guys do? Did you guys not pay your internet bill? What's going on? What's going on? You guys not pay your bills? Go and get arrested by the Imperium for tax fraud? What's going on? Ignore all this. Next, we have number 15. We have the Howling Griffins. I like the Howling Griffins. I like all the Space Marine chapters that fought in the Bad Ebb War, especially the Carcharodons. The Carcharodons, I absolutely love. The Mantis Warriors, they got some boo-boos. I think they're done for, though. I think they've been kaput. Because there wasn't very many left of them at the end of the war. The Howling... as I'm choking on air. The Howling Griffins, or a loyalist space marine chapter founded in the 33rd millennium from the gene seed of the Ultramarines. Another Ultramarines gene seed... Sorry, not gene seed. They do have Ultramarine gene seeds, but another Ultramarine successor chapter who fought in the Bad Ebb War and saw extensive action in the 13th Black Crusade, fighting against Chaos Plague Marines, or Death Guard. Well, I don't know if they would actually be Death Guard, because I'll get into that in a minute. In the defense of their world of Atimus Morgeris, the Howling Griffins take special pride in their oaths, seeing each as a promise of unending effort until the deed is sworn in. The oath is accomplished, or the oath... is sworn in, the oath is accomplished, or the oath taker has been slain. Try. So... I'm just going to lower this a little bit so I can collect my thoughts. Go back here, back to this part. Chaos Plague Marines. So I don't know if that means just rando Plague Marines that are part of the Black Legion that aren't really part of Death Guard. They're just guys that were Space Marines that were in the Black Legion that pledged themselves to Nurgle and changed. And I'm not sure when this happened either, because I don't know a whole lot about their lore. It says in the 33rd. Okay. There's been a lot of crusades going on too, Black Crusades. But in the book, The Lords of Silence, which is about the Death Guard and the group actually known as the Lord of Silence, you actually meet Mortarion in the book, and he basically says, do not go with Abaddon on his crusades. Abaddon and those who go with him, their time is up, basically. They'll get yeeted. Don't go with them. We've got other things we need to do. And from what I understand and what I know of the Death Guard, they are actually the most intact of the of the Chaos Legions that got turned to bad guys. They are the most whole and unified among their brothers. Okay, Iron Hands, robot boys that are really, really angry. He's got like a, I don't know what that is going on. Like a windshield wiper thing. Whoop, 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 whoop. Anyway, the Iron Hands are loyalist space marines and one of the first founding space marine legions created from the gene seed of their martyr primarch, Farius Manus. Although unwavering in their faith in the Emperor of Mankind and his dream of human unity is as embedded in the Imperium of Man, the Iron Hands also believe that human flesh is weak and easily corruptible, and strive to replace their organic bodies with more pure, bionic substitutes, thus emulating the faith of the Adaptimus Mechanicus, cult of the machine. When they step on Legos, it doesn't hurt them. These guys are pretty cool. I like them. They don't get a whole lot of love. They're very, very cool. They very, very don't much care about anything. So they'll blow it up, they'll kill it, melt it with plasma, blow it away with bolters. Crimson Fists. The Crimson Fists are a loyalist Space Marine chapter. They are the second founding chapter of the Imperial Fist Legion. The Crimson Fists are a chapter on the edge of extinction. Their fortress monastery destroyed and their numbers all but annihilated when the orc Wog Snagagrog descended on Loki Sector and their chapter homeworld of Rinsworld. These guys are cool. I like them. I like their lore a lot. So usually they don't have two red hands. It's a specialty thing. Usually they're only going to have one hand that's red, and that is because of their oath. They cut their hands open and they make an oath, and their hand gets all bloody because they cut the palm of their hand open. And that's why they are blue and red. These guys are very, very cool. Back when I played Space Marine on the 360, I was part of a Crimson Fists nerd group. I had fun with it. I don't even know if that group's still around. They kind of disappeared. Alright, then we have the White Scars. The White Scars are loyalist Space Marines, and one of the first founding legions of the Adeptus Astartes. Known and feared throughout the Imperium of Man of their highly mobile way of war, the White Scars are considered the masters of lightning and strike and hit and run attack, and are particularly adapted to the use of the Astartes assault bike as their mechanical steed. I like these guys. They're literally born in saddles on their home world. I do like the David Bowie lightning bolt. And as I said this in my last stream, but I had to cut this part out because, like I said, there was a high whining pitch noise that kind of ruined the stream. I thought it was my computer overheating. I really did. But then I found out it was just freaking air in our water pipes. So Jagatai Khan was one of the few Primarchs that actually could go toe-to-toe with Mortarion and not get, exhausted. Unfortunately, through bullshit hacks and plot armor, Mr. Khan, J. Khan, I'll just call him that, ended up defeating Mortarion. Mortarion, though, was, from bullshit hacks, was basically his mental powers that he had been suppressing were starting to blossom, and they were basically killing him that he wasn't using them. Yes. I could go more into different stuff with the Primarchs and allegedly what the Chaos Gods, who they originally wanted, and who they ended up getting, but that's for another time, another day. I do like these guys. They're very cool. I very do much like them. They are based a lot around the Mongolian Empire and their history and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. Then you have my boys, the best Warhammer Imperial Guard Regiment. See who's ranking number 1. That's not who I'm doing. They're Carcharodons. I love the Carcharodons. They were a very, very interesting chapter, and they had a very cool, important part in the Bad Ebb War. They're very unique, as they continue to grow to a certain point where they only really fit comfortably in Terminator armor. These guys are thought to be descendants of either Night Lords or Raven Guard or a Chimera of both, or just a unique Chimera gene seed. However, as I explained in my last stream, unfortunately, it's not up anymore. The Night Lord's gene seed is highly, highly pure and highly resistant to mutation and corruption of chaos. That is why when Night Lords start to mutate or get possessed by demons and start grilling icky bits and whatever, they're usually shunned by the other Night Lords they're with. Sometimes right out killed when it happens, other times put into suicide squads, and a lot of times those guys know that they're not going to be really welcome with their Night Lord brethren, so they'll break off in maybe little war bands with each other, or they just yeet off into the night and join the Black Legion. But anyway, the chapter named the Carcharodon Astra, translated into Low Gothic as the Space Sharks. I still can't speak. But known widely God, but known more widely as the Carcharodons, is a Space Marine chapter of an unknown provenance that has relatively recently carved out for itself a dark and brutal legend in the bloody wake of the Bad Ebb War. Yes, the poor space mantises. Mantis warriors.
They did not have a good time. They basically dropped the soap, and these guys came up and said, "Pick it up, boy." And they're like, "No, I don't think so." But they made them pick up the soap and then beat the hell out of them. Anyway,
much of the information surrounding its history is shrouded in myth or allegory, but fragmented pieces of data point to it being in existence as early as late M32 during the Astropath Wars. One thing is for certain, however, the chapter was given a sacred duty to travel to empty spaces beyond the Imperium's border, seeking forever to seek out and destroy the enemies of mankind. These guys need to be, and I'm not trying to be biased with these guys because I like them, these guys need to be in the top 10, maybe 8 or 9. And the reason why I say that is because these guys have the rarest of rare technology from pre-Harris era. They got a lot of big ships. They got a lot of powerful weapons. They got a lot of stuff that very few, if any, other Space Marine chapters have. Raven Guard. The Raven Guard is one of the original Fist founding chapters at number 10 of the Space Marines and was originally the Space Marine Legion before the XIX Space Marine before the second founding and the adoption of the Codex Astartes. The Primarch of the Raven Guard was Corax, a name which is an active play on the Latin word for raven. The Raven Guard are known for their cool-headed, even, and couldn't be one of these guys because I can't speak, intellectual temperament, their superb infiltration skills, and skills at furious close quarters engagement. These guys are cool. I like them. They sneak in and out. They like their jump packs. I don't know why they don't have a beaky here, because that is the armor that they prefer and like. They like the beaky armor, the Corvus armor. They're very, very sneaky boys. Very good at guerrilla warfare, hit and run stuff. But number 10 would have to be the Ultramarines for me, because yes, they are very well organized. They are very well trained. They have lots and lots of lots of recruits. They just would be number 10 for me on any list. But they definitely would not be in the top 5.
That is my opinion, based on the facts and stuff that I've read about the Ultramarines. If you think the Ultramarine should be number 1, good for you. I'm not saying you're wrong, but in my opinion, you're wrong, because there's way more cooler chapters out there that can do what the Ultramarines do, but a little bit better, or maybe in a different way that makes them better.
Because like I said before at the beginning of this, the Ultramarines do everything by the book, and in several pieces of the lore and books, they're always called predictable, and they always fall victim into the enemy's hands because the enemies are able to play them so well.
But anyway,
number 9 is the Death Watch. The Death Watch are their last resort, a chapter that serves the Ordo Xeno, the Inquisition or branch that focuses on aliens mostly. They're the last resort and can access firepower stronger than that of the Imperial Guards with their own acolytes and throne agents. They are the most informed of the other Space Marine chapters, even traitor ones. They execute missions where they mostly exterminate alien civilizations that threaten mankind. No, am I looping music? I am looping music. That is alright. That is A-okay. We'll listen to this one last song. Deathwatch is pretty cool. Deathwatch, if you're very new to Warhammer 40k, they basically take the best of the best of the best from every chapter and they get put into the Deathwatch. Sometimes it's a punishment, sometimes it's a reward, Sometimes it's because their chapter has been completely destroyed and there's like maybe 2 or 3 guys left in that chapter. So these guys, like I said, these guys are pretty cool. 8. The Ultramarines. You guys already know my opinion about the Ultramarines and how I feel about them. The Ultramarines are considered one of the strongest and most honored of all Space Marines chapters in the Imperium of Man, and were responsible for single-handedly holding the Imperium together after the Horus Heresy. Highly disciplined, courageous warriors, the Ultramarines have remained true to the teachings of their Primarch Robuta Guilliman for a very long time. The Ultramarines, like I said, they are what they are. They have, I wouldn't say they are the strongest, though. Like I said, and I'm going to say it one last time, their biggest hindrance is they have to follow the teachings of the Primarch, and those who choose not to follow the Space Bible for Space Marines usually end up getting a pretty bad fate. They either get kicked out or killed, or they end up succeeding from the Ultramarines and then are branded as heretics while they form their own chapter. That has happened quite a bit. Number 7, the Imperial Fists. The Imperial Fists are pretty good. Pretty good. They are a solid 7, maybe 6. Well, it actually all depends. Like, if it's planetary defense, they're easily top 3. Because that is what they do. They are the last wall. They know what the hell they're doing. I don't know why I said top 3. They are number 1 in planetary defense. My brain is just...
Don't listen to me.
The Imperial Fists are one of the first founding Space Marine chapters that stand out from the other Space Marine chapters since they possess no fixed homeworld, although they are most frequently based on Terra. Instead of the Imperial Fist, rely on their really old 10,000-year-old mobile space fortress, the Phalanx, which is massive. It's huge. It served as their fortress monastery. They maintain recruitment chapels on various worlds spread throughout the Imperium. Part of the Imperial Fist duties during the Great Crusade were to function as the Emperor's personal praetorians, accompanying him everywhere. These guys are very, very good at defensive warfare. Salamanders. Salamanders are your buddy if you're humans and your world gets invaded, because they're one of the very few friendly guys that will actually help you out. You don't want the Black Templar coming, and if you know what I mean by that, good. If you don't know what I mean by that, go read Hell's Reach. In short, humans at best for the Dark Black Templar. I don't know why. Did I say Dark Templar? I don't know. Use them as bait. At worst, you're just in the way. Salamanders are one of the loyalist first founding chapters of the Space Marines. Their homeworld is a volcanic death world of Nocturne. The Salamanders, as a chapter, are usually concerned with the civilian casualties compared to most other Space Marine chapters. This is true. Most Space Marine chapters don't care about collateral damage, and believe that one of their most important duties is to protect the lives of the Emperor Mankind's innocent subjects whenever and wherever possible. These guys like their flame weapons. These guys are master craftsmen. Their stuff is very good, very well protected. There is no holes. There is no weak spots in their armor. So maybe I would put these guys at number 5. Dark Angels. The Dark Angels are considered among the most powerful and secretive of loyalist Space Marine chapters, and were the first of the original 20 Space Marine legions to be created during the first founding. Though they claim complete allegiance and service to the Emperor of Mankind, their actions and secret goals at times seem at odds with the professed loyalty. That's because some of these guys fell to the dark side, and they try to keep it a secret, and have been hunting down the heretics for a long time, and then the whole thing with the lion happened. So these guys these guys would definitely, the Dark Angels and the Black Templar are tied for number one for me. And the reason for that is these guys have pretty much the best weapons. They have the most plasma weapons. They have the most Terminators. They have a lot of stuff. And they're very good at what they do. But compared to the Dark Templars, these guys are a group of soccer moms in minivans, while the Dark Templar are a convoy of school buses, tour buses, pickup trucks full of people, double-decker buses. Like, they're a convoy of, let's get everybody into this big vehicle, shove them all in, and let's just keep getting more. But yes, so in my top three, it would, tied for number one would be Dark Templar. God, why do I keep calling them Dark Templar? Black Templar, Dark Angels, and the Carcharodons. And like I said, the reason why the Carcharodons would be so high is because, like the Dark Angels, they have really powerful technology and weapons that a lot of other chapters simply don't have. For the Grey Knights, pretty broken on the tabletop. The Grey Knights are the mysterious loyalist chapters of the Marines, specifically tasked with combating dangerous demonic entities of the Warp and all those who wield the corrupt power of the Chaos Gods. The Grey Knights act as a military arm of the Chamber Militant of the Ordo Malleus. Malleus? Malleus?
I don't know. I don't speak Latin.
The demon hunters who form the oldest branch of the virtual omnipotent Imperial Inquisition. I do not like the Grey Knights for a couple of reasons. You be quiet. We're going to go to a different playlist because this one has played its welcome out. They will kill innocent people just to keep their identity a secret, and I don't like that. They've been called in to save worlds and then just been told by the Inquisition, you know, these people know who you are. It's time to get rid of them. And so it makes some of the stuff that they do just kind of pointless. What is this one? What is this one? I don't know if this is gonna match the Warhammer 40k thing, but it'll do for now.
It'll do for now.
Next up, number 3, they're the Space Wolves. So the other two articles that we did, it kept talking about how the Space Wolves were werewolves or they had werewolf powers. That's a bunch of malarkey. And I also think with the other two, allegedly, I don't know if it was written by the same lady or if the lady who did the article on Joy Ranker or Joy Rant, because there was one by Game Rant and there was one by Joy Rant. Maybe they're same by the own company, and maybe she was hired, or maybe they copied each other, or one copied the other, but it was literally word for word some of the same stuff. But anyway, the Space Wolves are one of the original 21st founding Space Marine legions, and once led by their famed Primarch Leman Russ. After the Horus Heresy, and the resultant second founding reforms of the Adeptus Astartes, the Space Wolves Legion was divided into 2 chapters. The new Space Wolf chapter, which was not compliant with the dictates of the Codex Astartes, basically the Space Marine Bible, and retained the name of its parent legion, and the second chapter, which took the name of the Wolf Brothers. I like these guys. I like Space Wolves for their Nordic culture, but unfortunately, their Nordic culture has been overlooked quite a lot. Unfortunately, now it's all about the Wolfen time, the Wolfen cookies, the Wolfen lemonade, the Wolfen parties, the Wolfen music, the Wolfen raves, the Wolfen cosplay. They just, too much with the wolves, man. Too much. Too much with the animals, too much with the wolves. Go back to your Nordic Nordic heritage thing, focus more on raiding and pillaging and plundering, become cool again.
Anyway, Black Templars at number 2.
The Black Templars, not the Dark Templars as I've been calling them, are a loyalist second founding Space Marine chapter, delivered from the Imperial Fist Genesteed and their Primarch Rogel Dorn. I always call him Don, but his name is Dorn. Their origin can be traced back to the Imperial Fist's defense of Terra during the Horus Heresy. Since that time, the Black Templars had been on the longest crusade of the Imperium of Man has ever known to prove their loyalty to the Emperor of Mankind, and they also basically told Buddha Gilliman to screw off with his space Bible. Dorn did. He said, "We're not a legion anymore. We're a crusade fleet. Go kiss my butt." And Gilliman was like,
"Oh man, okay, I guess."
The Blood Angels at number 1. This is an interesting choice. The Blood Angels are one of the 21st founding legions of the Space Marines. They are well known for their bloodthirsty nature in battle and feared for their cursed gene seed that they carry. I don't know a lot. I don't know that a lot of other Space Marines know about their flawed gene seed, or that they have the red thirst or the black rage. Because from what I understand, that's still kind of a big secret. Which leads me into my next point.
Let me just get a drink of water because my throat is dying and I'm dead.
So, what we do know from the lore, is that Belius Crawl, or however you say his name, didn't have access to all of the gene seeds from all the various different chapters out there. For example, the Minotaurs had their gene seed with them on their home planet. Belius Crawl didn't have that because their gene seed is supposed to be secret. Along come the Death Guard 7th Company, taint the gene seed bank, kill off most of the Minotaurs. The Minotaurs come crawling back in their broken down ships to Terra, and they get their first batch of Primaris. They were the very first chapter to get Primaris Marines. However, the firstborn, I believe, of the Minotaurs are all dead, because they had those who lived had to sacrifice themselves so that their gene seed could live on. Which means certain chapters got Ultramarine gene seed, or they got Night Lord gene seed. And the reason for that is Ultramarines are the most common, but Night Lord gene seed is the hardest to corrupt. We've already talked about this, I think, and is the purest. And I think that the Flesh Terrors and the Blood Angels actually got Loyalist Night Seed, Loyalist Night Lords, not Night Seeds. God, the music's throwing me off because of my ADD. But I'm just gonna stop this music so I can collect my freaking thoughts. All right. So I think the more violent chapters are the ones that have that Belius Crawl were known to be a little bit more, to be a bit more violent, to be a bit more brutal. Got Loyalist Night Lord gene seeds in them, because like I said, it is known that he didn't have all of the gene seeds to use. Because if he did, Gilliman would have found out about Sanguinius's curse and the bloodthirst and the black rage, because that is something I believe that is still a secret in the Blood Angels, for the Blood Angels. Now they did get, like I said, they did get Primaris Marines, Primaris reinforcements, but my theory is they're probably, like I said, Loyalist Night Lords. Anyway, that's just my thing. Let's go up here, make sure. Okay, last time this gave away stuff, so Now we're going to go into the best Chaos Space Marine chapters, or